All right, I'm back. I thought I'd make another short video about something that's extremely important, and that's doing the oil return on your turbo application. It's something that gets overlooked a lot, but it's extremely important. The oil return is just as important as the feed or restrictors or anything else. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'll show you where I'm marking this pan and why I'm marking it there. And I'll also show you some other options. I have both B-Series Moroso options here that come pre-tapped, which is great in some cases not. I'll go over that. And yeah, I'll go from there. So I'll go ahead and get this pan off, or I'll show you where it's marked, then get it off and over to the table, and I'll show you the return line being used and some pan options for you. Now I'm going to use the stock pan on this application, mainly because this pan is in great shape. There's no reason not to use it. And I have the ability to tap it, so that's what I'm going to do. I've already marked where I'm going to put the bung, which is right here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. I know I say it a lot, but it's not terribly difficult. The oil pan is all 10 millimeter. I've already drained the pan. I did that this weekend, so I'll go ahead and get this snatched off and show you some more on the table. Okay, I've got the pan off and the hose down. I usually hose them down with brake clean to break down the oil. It's a lot better than using the pressure washer, because the pressure washers make a mess when you're trying to spray up inside a pan. It just splashes back out. The brake clean works a lot better, breaks down the oil and just pour it out. But anyway, I've got the B16 pan, the stock capacity GSR pan, and the extra capacity GSR pan with the trap doors in it. All three are good options. The only benefit really from the back side here is both of these pans come with an additional port. These are not to be confused with being an oil return port. These are ports used if you're going to use like an oil temperature sensor, and you can put the sensor port down at the bottom of the pan. You never want to return the oil to the bottom side of the pan. It'll just cause oil to back up and damage the turbo. Here's a top view. Again, you got the stock pan, the Moroso pan. You can see how they did the baffle inside this pan. And it's the same for the extra capacity baffle, except for this baffle is removable. And it does have, you can hear the trap doors that trap the oil to keep the oil supposedly trapped around the oil pickup. Okay, front side, again, stock capacity Moroso, extra capacity Moroso. The Moroso has the same half-inch NPT fitting on the front side of the pan, and this is for the oil return. We have the half-inch to -10 conversions that just screw in, that we use in our oil drain kits. When doing a regular return like I'm doing here, I don't use a female port. I go ahead and weld the male 10AN fitting to the pan, and I basically put it on this application. It's going in almost the same spot that Moroso uses. This works out great on top mounts, where you have not so much a lengthy oil drain, but you have more flexibility in where you put the drain. These, if you're using, say, like our mini ram, it's terrible, because really the fitting needs to be here and maybe here, height-wise. And when you're doing, it has a shorter drain, so when you're using the Moroso pan and trying to pair it with a mini ram, this drain is dictating where it should be, where the oil return is going to go, and it makes it way more difficult than it needs to be. So I don't like to use these on a mini ram unless I'm going to get it and I'm going to re-weld a port and not use this port. Feels like the ram horn. It's okay because you have a little bit more length, a little bit more flexibility. Top mount, you have plenty of length and plenty of flexibility, so these work out well. But yeah, that's basically it. They're all great for top mount setups. This particular pan is for a setup we're doing, built GSR, that's big turbo that wanted extra capacity, and it may do some road racing. So the trap doors and extra capacity will benefit it. 9 times out of 10, when I'm doing a Moroso pan, this is the pan we use because it's just a stock replacement, more or less, that's zinc plated that, isn't damaged. You get so many of these pans that are damaged or have been drug on the ground from super low cars that you need to replace them. And typically, when it hits the ground, it'll hit the ground right below the pickup, which will end up starving the motor, destroying the motor, all because of a pan. So make sure you have a good shaped pan before you get into tapping it, or definitely before you send it to me to tap it, because if it's beat up at the bottom, I'll just send it back to you. And I hate to just, do that and charge somebody freight for not doing any work. Or, you can buy a pan from me. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and get this prepped, drilled out. And you can see I've got the oil off of it. It's just leaving fingerprints. I'll get it prepped, drilled out, and get ready to weld it. Before I get to welding the pan, I want to show you the oil return hose. I've already assembled the hose how I need it to be. Cut it to length. And since this is a top mount, I went ahead and put a fire sleeve over it because it will run close to the runners. So as the runners go between here, I want to protect the hose and the oil as much as possible. So yeah, I do have the fire sleeves as well, but this is, matching everything else with the steel braided hose, black -10 45-degree fittings. And I try to use straights and 45s in the oil drains. I try not to use a 90 or anything definitely greater than 90 degree because it causes oil to back up. And if you get in a situation where the oil is backing up, it will cause the turbo to smoke and it's all downhill from there. So you want to make sure you have a good drain at a good angle to where the oil is continuously running downhill and back into the pan. Okay, I've got the area tapped with the pilot hole and stripped. I want to also show you something important here is to make sure you get the oil return port in between the bolt holes. You don't want to line it up directly under a bolt hole because then you won't get the bolt back in. That's something small. Well, it seems like something small, but it's a pretty big deal. So make sure when you put the oil port on, you get it on in between 2 flange bolt holes. Here's another little tip I like to do when doing these. I'll show you. I tape paper. This is just packing paper below where I'm going to weld to or drill to. That way the metal flakes will fall on the paper instead of falling into the bottom of the pan. So when I finish blowing this off, I'll just pull the paper out and there'll be nothing in the pan. So all I gotta do is clean the outside of it, not the inside. Now I've got the drain all welded up. I just stuck the hose on. I realized I didn't really plan on making this video today. So being unprepared, I don't have a new oil drain pan or a new oil pan gasket. So I'll get one ordered and get the reinstall done on the next video.